Hello, and welcome to the Film versus Film podcast, coming to you, as always, from Burbank, California. This is a podcast. My name is Quinn. I've seen however many movies I've seen in my life, and joined by my co-host, Leonard Smith Jr. Leonard, take it away.
Hey, well, all right. What's going on here, man? I feel like you're a little bit too lackadaisical right now. You're a little too chill. What's going on, man?
Not lackadaisical, Leonard. I'm hurt.
I'm hurt too because I had a little money line on the fact that you were going to come in with a different type of intro, but
with some references, with some excitement, with some energy.
Yeah, I lost it directly on the tip. So,
well, I know what it's like to lose, Leonard. All right, so why don't you take over? This is the finale of season 3 of Film versus Film podcast.
If you're here, you
thumped again.
You know why Quinn is despondent because he's already lost the season, but we're still gonna play it out. Yeah, that's right.
We got a guest today, but doesn't matter. May as well not. May as well. We can just pack up and go home. In fact, everybody stop listening.
Yeah, man. That's the point for you, bro. That's the point for you.
Don't stop listening. Don't stop listening. Yeah.
No, we got a great show today. I was just putting a little. I'm back. I was just putting a little. I had to get over it, but I'm still stinging from last.
You can always get the memories erased, Quinn. Okay.
Yeah. Well, we got a lot of bookkeeping to talk about before this episode's out and how this is gonna look for me going forward. But before all of that, we do have our last episode of season 3, our last matchup episode of season 3 with a guest where we got 2 movies to talk about, 2 good movies. And I am excited. I'll get back over the course of it. But Leonard, you go, please. Who do we have here today?
Well, yeah, first of all, it's Leonard. You know who I am, and we have a great guest today, comedian actor Jacquis Neal, one of the funniest dudes I know out here, and he's blessed us by taking some time out to watch these movies and come join us today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? What's up, guys? I love that I eat ass. Right in the background, I feel at home, man. I feel at home. It feels great.
Yeah, for our listeners, Leonard joins every pod. We record on Zoom, so we get the audio that you don't see when this is made into a podcast. But what all of our guests see when they log on is Leonard in this spot in his bedroom, right in front of his "I eat ass"
man.
Poster, whatever it is, sign.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, whoever ass you want to eat. The world needs more ass eaters. So, if Leonard is the person to rock for y'all in good hands. Y'all in good hands.
That person.
We in good hands, everybody.
Y'all in good hands. That's right. Eat more ass, give more head. Anyway.
Yes. So what's up, fellas?
We are doing, this is a fun prop we're doing today.
Yeah.
If you didn't get any of the references and you're like, all right, what are they doing?
I didn't give any references.
There was some slight.
Oh, okay. All right. I missed them then. Was eating ass a reference to one of our 2 movies?
Memories being erased and losing it directly on the tip,
Oh, yes. Yes. I see now.
You see now. He sees. See, something, you already lost it. We're doing a dramatic turn where, comedians or comedic actors switch it up and make that turn to a dramatic role. And I feel like these 2 choices were probably the top 2 obvious choices. Sometimes we don't necessarily go with the most obvious choices, but it's kind of hard not to choose either one of these films. And
I kind of thought really hard. I was trying, and I don't know why, because I think I picked the movie I picked is great, but like I was trying to think of something else. Like it's that thing where it's like I thought it was like a trap game. It's like I don't want to do the thing that is expected because then if I lose on that, like I was like, there's got to be something I'm not thinking of that's like this great movie that I could pick. And yeah,
I had
to come back to the obvious choice.
And we both were taking some time. We were like, we got to give these movies to Jacquis.
Yeah. We're both taking this time, and we're like, Jacquis is gonna have to watch both of these movies before we record. So we should be getting him our picks in a
we were texting each other about it, and I was like, look, I already know what's going to happen. It's either going to be Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind versus Uncut Gems, or it's going to be Uncut Gems versus Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And there were a few movies I was thinking about going with.
I thought you were going to go Eddie Murphy.
You thought, yeah.
I know Eddie. Like I know Eddie holds.
Yeah. I thought about it. I even talked about Dolomite. It's kind of a comedy, but he's playing a very like serious. It's not necessarily a dramatic movie, but it's more of a like serious role of him.
Yeah,
autobiography type, But these choices that we gave you, Jacquis, were you surprised by them? Did you think maybe we were going to see something else? Or?
I was not surprised by Eternal Sunshine. First of all, listen, Jim Carrey is one of my favorite actors.
Okay.
And one role that like everybody loves Eternal Sunshine. It's the first movie that a lot of people think of when they think of Jim Carrey taking a dramatic turn. But my number one dramatic turn from Jim Carrey was his true first one, which was The Truman Show, which is my favorite movie of all time. Truman Show is, I think, a fucking masterpiece.
As you say that, I'm like, damn, I fucking love The Truman Show, and I didn't even think about it.
Eternal Sunshine is also a masterpiece, I think, too. So, like, it's great. So I that wasn't surprising. Uncut Gems surprised me because like Eternal Sunshine and Truman Show, Man on the Moon, those three movies are Jim Carrey's earlier, like, dramatic. But Uncut Gems is new, and Adam Sandler's had a couple like really great dramatic turns, and this one was the most fucking stressful one out of all the goddamn dramatic turns that he took. So I thought like nobody would ever want to watch this movie again. But it is a great fucking movie because it is truly the most dramatic turn for Adam Sandler that we've ever seen. So
you are so right. I had very, very strong feelings about this movie when I watched it. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch it in theaters. I watched it like in my house, and I watched it by myself, and I literally was pacing in my living room back and forth. Like the last 30 minutes, I did not sit down. I was like, I thought to myself, like, how did people watch this in the theater? Like, I don't even.
I watched this on Christmas Day. It was terrible, bro. It was a terrible fucking. I was like, man, we're supposed to be celebrating Jesus' birthday, or no, it's had his death. What's Christmas? His birthday, right? Yeah, celebrating his birthday, and I'm up here stressed in the motherfucker. Wild.
And I had only watched it one time, but it had this very strong presence in my mind, and I could not choose it. And rewatching it again, it does hit a little different, because
because what's about to happen. Yeah, this one wasn't that stressful watching it the second time.
Yeah, so now you're just literally watching it this time. And you're like, God, you fucking idiot! Oh God, no, God, fuck, man, like.
It's dope though. So yeah, two good movies. I think these movies are dope. Eternal Sunshine, I think, is a fucking heartbreaking movie. Uncut Gems is, we've already talked about the anxiety inducing, but I think, the goal was to make you feel anxiety, and I don't think a movie has done it better than Uncut Gems, because it fucking worked. It worked, and everybody is dope in it. Got a little Idina Menzel in there, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was dope. It was a good movie.
Both these movies succeeded in what they were trying to do. If you haven't seen either one of these movies and you're listening, that's cool.
Why don't you do a quick rundown of Uncut Gems?
I'll do a quick rundown of Uncut Gems. Is Ratner, man. Howie Ratner is a Jewish gentleman working. He has his own diamond jewelry store in the Diamond District in New York. He is a degenerate gambler. He is a swindler. He's just a runabout, and it's finally come to the point of all these people he owes money and situations he's in, and you're following these last few days where he's been waiting for this big ass black opal from Ethiopia. It finally gets there. He's finally going to make this final play to pay off all these people and make it and get this money. And it's him dealing with the 3 or 4 days of stress of trying to get this opal into an auction, trying to get away from bookies and people he owes money. And then there's a reveal that the person he owes $100,000 to is his brother-in-law. And they are after him the entire film. And it's just him trying to be one step ahead of the situation he's in. And it seems like he always is. And when he's in a situation where, like, all right, he finally can fix it, there's something about him where he has to bet again. and try to get more. And he's just a depressed, angry man who's dealing with his family, his mistress, and money, and Kevin Garnett.
He's one step ahead, not like Inspector Clouseau is one step ahead, or that's maybe a bad example. Not like a movie detective is one step ahead of like the criminals. He's one step ahead in the sense that he's like got one foot out the door. So by the time the people that are coming on to collect from his last bet can get him, he's like already one step further away to put down another bet, which if that hits will pay him out of the ones that he's like. It's
I was watching it.
I think I got hives watching the movie.
This time I was like, man, he owed this. I was like, damn, I didn't even. The first time I was so into it, I was like, this motherfucker owes like cash $25,000. He owes those dudes $30,000. He's like, damn, he owes a lot of money to a lot of people.
Right.
And he's just like, it's like kind of like a Ponzi scheme. He's just moving money from one place to another, getting another something to pawn. He's pawning KG's ring. He's pawning the Weeknd's necklace that's going to be sold. Like stuff that is not. He's giving away Rolexes that are not his.
The Weeknd might have had it coming.
The Weeknd had it coming, and Weeknd had it coming. But also the thing that also made this movie stressful for me is the subject matter. For the most part, I knew very well. Like this, what they were playing a game that has happened already. You know, like the Celtics game at the end and all that shit. So, and I know the world of basketball very well. So, like shit, like him betting on the tip. Like, that shit stresses me out because I know how stupid that is. Like, why would you bet that much money on like the tip off or shit like that? It makes me so mad. It made me so mad.
What I appreciate about this movie is if you don't know about betting or like you've been in a situation where you bet a decent type of money or you have something invested in a game, this movie like encapsulates that feeling. Like if you don't know it, watching this movie, you're like, damn, like the stress that Howie is in, like watching these games has to be bananas. Like, and this movie makes you feel that way. Like watching a game and hoping that someone gets enough rebounds, but in this one, it's like, I'm hoping he doesn't die. And it's like kind of surprising that you're rooting for him and you like, but he's such a piece of shit, but it's just like
such a piece of shit. The only part of the movie that I just was like, oh no, can't get with it. It's Adam Sandler's whack ass being married to Idina Menzel and fucking Julia Fox. Like, man, fucking needs two fine ass white women. Get the fuck out of here, man. Come on, Adam.
I feel you on that. I just think he's the type of person who
you weren't swayed by his charm.
I was swayed by his charm.
It's weird. He has some type of charm and a little bit of the gift of gab that somehow I kind of believed it. I remember the first time watching it being like, man, ain't no way. But like you see that in life, you're like, why is that woman with that man? It's because he just has some type of aura and money and an apartment for her to live in. It's just
that's true. That's true.
But when she comes back at the end and like tattoos her name on him, I'm like, hold on, wait a second.
Too much, man. It's too much.
This man just goddamn slapped a smoothie in your face.
Yeah, bro, you could have fucked the Weeknd. Come on,
you turned down the Weeknd.
You turned down the Weeknd for Adam Sandler.
But I understand why she would turn down the Weeknd because the Weeknd is only going to be there for Saturday and Sunday, and she wants some. She's going to have a place to live every day of the month.
I think that's the end of the episode right there. We did it, guys. We did
it. You retroactively lost last week's episode, so now you're back on the spot. You need this just for that joke.
Let's talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Yeah, a very different movie. We picked, our picks, Jacquis, we joke all the time, even though I've broken this rule before, but we don't pick movies beyond earlier than the mid 80s because we're picking movies that Leonard and I grew up seeing or that in the case of Uncut Gems came out very recently.
Yeah.
So it's probably no mistake that we both picked, even though they were the obvious picks, we both picked two movies with like the powerhouses of like 90s comedy movies in their starring roles.
Because these are the comedians we grew up with.
These are the comedians that we grew up with. Yeah. I mean, and these are like the box office kings of like the 90s comedy. And so it is interesting to see it shake out that way. I picked, as we've revealed, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is Michel Gondry, I think I said that right, directing a Charlie Kaufman script starring Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet with just a great cast of a bunch of other notable familiar faces. And it's this is a movie where the plot is very simple. It's Jim Carrey plays Joel Barish. He finds out that his ex-girlfriend, Clementine, that not only have they broken up, but she has had him through the use of a procedure that obviously does not exist in real life, but is taken as pretty commonplace in the movie. She's had him erased from her life, not just like in the way that when someone breaks up with you and they give you all your shit back. She literally went and had the memories of her and Joel's time together taken away so that she wouldn't even recognize him to see him. And he vindictively, as you do when you've been broken up with and you want to win the breakup, he has her erased. So we kind of see the process of him going through, Michel Gondry is a very visual director. There's a lot of very cool sequences, very cinematic sequences in this movie that kind of show what it looks like when someone's erased. I think about like that scene where they're in like the library or the bookshop and like you can't see what the names of the books are on the spine because like that memory has faded. Yeah, there's a lot of very cool visual representations of the process.
So good.
And when he walks out of the Barnes and Nobles and it's like just like slowly like breaking down.
Yeah. That last scene, like the last memory where everything is just fucking like breaking down. Oh my God. Don't get me
started. A beautiful film, and it's a movie that I can tell you about, and it's like, oh, this sounds really interesting, but it's like that's half of it. You got to see it.
You have to see it, yeah.
And it's about like what happens because if you've ever been broken up with or just had something where you're so angry at a person where you're like, I wish I could just excise this person from my life. Like, what happens if you regret that decision? Well, you can't go back when you've had them erased, but can you? Can you ever really erase a memory? Like, I think it asks some interesting questions. It's a love story, but it's not like dour and serious. It kind of is getting at a lot of matters of the heart. And Jim Carrey, as you said, Jacquis, and I know perhaps we'll see by episode's end if I picked wrong. My first thought was The Truman Show, because that was the first. I remember seeing that movie with my dad and my brother in theaters. My brother's name is Truman, and so there was like so he's just been hearing Truman Show jokes for 20 years now. Like I remember seeing that movie and knowing knowing Jim Carrey as Ace Ventura, knowing Jim Carrey as the guy with the plastic face, and thinking like, oh, this is a really, okay, this is a different film from Jim Carrey, and having a tremendous amount. I'm with you, Jacquis. I feel like there is, maybe in some circles, there's some Jim Carrey slander. Maybe in the modern day, people are like, oh, Jim Carrey is just too outrageous. I never liked Jim Carrey movies. I was a huge and remain a huge fan of his comedic work. And the fact that he gives, I know that it's not, people say you can't give 100%. Jim Carrey can. Jim Carrey gives that extra 10% on like every comedic role, whether it's a great comedy like Dumb and Dumber or something less worthy of his time.
Like Batman, the number 23.
Like Batman and Robin.
The number 23.
Oh, he was great. Listen, he was Batman Forever. You're going to see
Batman Forever.
But he was fucking great.
No, that's the thing. He was great in it. It was a terrible movie. It's a terrible movie, but he was great in it.
He was fantastic as the Riddler. And Jim Carrey is just, I mean, you're right. I mean, the thing, you got Dumb and Dumber, The Mask, Ace Ventura 1 and 2, Liar Liar, which is a fantastic movie.
I love
Liar Liar is a fantastic movie. And then all of a sudden, Cable Guy, right? And then all of a sudden, he just comes out with The Truman Show, right? And it's just, and the subject matter of The Truman Show is even still relevant today, right?
Oh, yeah.
So that movie is just, that movie is set in stone. But then a few years later, as we, 2003, how old was I in 2003? 16, 17? I was in late high school or whatever. And we've lived with Jim Carrey a little bit more. Now he has The Grinch and everything like that. And then he comes out with this movie. And for me, being a teenager at that time, you're starting to have your first relationships. You're trying to fuck people for the first time. You're trying to you've probably had your heart broken already, and all these things with the person who, like you guys said, we grew up with in the 90s. And this movie was just so heartbreaking, and it still is heartbreaking to this day, because for me, you mentioned something about the erasing the memories, and can you ever erase memories, right? And I think that's a great way to look at the movie. But the number one way I look at this movie is after a breakup and things are bad, and all in leading up to how things were bad, we all love to forget those moments. but is it worth sacrificing for getting those moments to forget all the great moments too, and how that
Yeah.
made you feel, and the love, and like, just, like, you guys probably know, like, when you are in just the special fucking moment and you just want to hold on to that moment forever, right? And we forget about those because life takes precedence. But if you feel that again, is it worth forgetting just to get rid of the bad? And like, I don't know if it is. I don't know if it is. And it's just such an interesting movie. It's great.
It's wild too. Is like, is it worth forgetting? Because sometimes if you don't forget it, you chase that feeling,
Yeah.
and it maybe encompasses you in a different way.
Yeah.
But
And you're also losing the ability to take learnings from those bad memories. It's like you can't just erase those bad moments in your life. You're supposed to grow from it. I know, it's like we're all being earned. I love this, but we're all sort of just spitting out like not empty platitudes, but just sort of like those coffee cuts. Like, can you erase a like? But it's true, and I think that's what this movie does so well, while keeping it.
One thing that we're talking about, when he's on the train and she's like, "Don't make fun of my name," like Clementine, and he's like, "Okay," and she's like, "Whatever, Howard the Hound or whatever," and he's like, "Never heard of it," and I was like, had he never heard of it because the Clementine, the song and that character was tied to her, or did he actually not know it? But
well, it showed in the memory that he did know it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first time they met.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just this time, I don't know, something like that's
so
the
it was
thing
like
too.
anything that
something in him was like, don't make fun of it. Like something in him was like, and the number one question this movie asks is like, is destiny a real thing, right? Because they end up together. Like back at the end, and with that beautiful Beck song play, change your heart. Like everything is great, man. It's great. It's
very different endings to these movies.
Very different endings. Very different endings.
But to get back to the heart, because I did think, like, for me, it was between, right before I made my pick, it was between Truman Show, and I knew Leonard had picked Uncut Gems, so I was like, I'm going Carrie. For a second, I was like, should I go like Robin Williams? Robin Williams had some interesting picks. Another huge 90s icon and forever icon, Robin Williams. But Jim Carrey was more like my guy growing up. So that, for whatever reason, was how I...
Something about Jim Carrey's... Like, there's a lot of these, which is why I thought this was such an interesting like category when I was like, can we do this? Something about Jim Carrey movies and his dramatic turns, for whatever reason, just feels so different than other actors' dramatic to comedic turns. And I don't know what that is.
I think Jim Carrey is just an amazing actor. And I think he's so good. Doing comedy and being a comedic actor is like the hardest acting there is, Yeah. And that was kind of going to be my argument, is that Jim Carrey is just an amazing actor. He's just not a comedian. Actor. Yeah. He's just an actor.
Well, he's definitely a comedian.
Yeah. Yes. But he's just not defined by that.
Yes, right. You wouldn't just call him a comedian.
And that was kind of my issue with what Quinn was saying earlier. I didn't. The people who listen to the podcast know I try not to pick the obvious choice. I try to pick something that's like means something to me, that I hold some type of, and sometimes it is the obvious choice. And but I wanted to maybe go with Dead Poet Society.
That's a good one. Yeah.
But then I was like, I don't think Robin Williams is just an amazing entertainer and an amazing actor. So I don't know if it's a dramatic turn necessarily.
Also too, and maybe this isn't true. I don't know how old you guys are. I'm 34. So like, by the time I was cognizant of movies, Robin Williams had already had dramatic roles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, like, even though I know him as a comedian actor, and that was most of the movies I saw, I had also seen some of his dramatic roles. So for me, it was a little more blended than Jim Carrey, who I grew up with watching in Living Color, and then Ace Ventura, and then The Mask, and then I actually saw his first turn. Same with Adam Sandler, we saw his first turn, whereas Robin Williams' first turn generally was before we were born, or right as we were being born. And shit like
I
that.
think that's exactly, because for the same reason I was initially thinking, like, should I think like something from Tom Hanks? But I'm like, no one thinks of Tom Hanks just as a comedian. Like Tom Hanks was going this and that since like by the late 80s. He was already taking like somewhat dramatic roles. So I was like, nah, you got to stay off it. And I do think what we both did, Leonard, is we picked guys who established themselves. Whatever more we learned, what other layers we came to find from these guys, established themselves pretty solidly as comedians. Jim Carrey was talking out of his butt, and Adam Sandler was, doing the Hanukkah song on SNL. Yeah. And it's pretty clear who both of these guys were. Yeah. And I think that's what makes these movies interesting. So, which leads me, Jacquis, well, I wanted to ask you, a comedian, what about a comedian doing a dramatic role appeals to you? Obviously, you've talked about it as related to both of our picks, but I'm curious, what made that prompt come to mind for you?
It's interesting because my road, I should say, to acting is very interesting. I've always been a performer and everything like that. I credit the weirdest person for making me wanting to be a performer and actor ever, and is Mark Summers, who was the host of Double Dare when I was growing up. Just because I would watch him and just be like, I want to do what he does. I want to entertain people how he's entertaining me, right? And the same with Jim Carrey. I got in trouble for bringing Ace Ventura as the class movie to watch in second grade, because in the first scene of the movie he's getting his dick sucked. So but I'm talking out my butt. I'm doing all these things and all these things. And watching these actors, I was just like, oh man, there's something about subverting expectation, right? Mm-hmm. There's something about this person is more well-rounded than we gave them credit for. That's always stuck with me. And when I decided that I wanted to become an actor, people who know me closely know this, and I talk about this all the time, but before I went to TV, I was a stage actor for, since I was 16. So I've done dramatic roles. I've done dramatic plays. I didn't do improv. I grew up in Chicago. I didn't do fucking improv. I didn't do comedy out there. I did dramatic fucking theater and shit like that. And it wasn't until I came out here that I actually started doing comedy, just because I was bored. And I wanted to have something to do. I wanted to have a community to be a part of, because LA is a very tough community to get into. So I've always just kind of related with seeing somebody who we expect or know them for one thing, and it turns out they can do just the other just as well. Or people also look at them and oh, they're just as good at this as we, think of them at the other thing that they do, or they're more well-rounded, or the path that they took to get to where we know them that today was not the path we thought they were going to take when they first burst onto the scene. Mm-hmm. So I've always just been enamored with comedians taking dramatic turns, because nobody really thinks about dramatic actors taking a comedic turn. And like you said, Leonard, the reason I think comedic actors are better actors is because comedy is much fucking harder to do. And when we get to see that, it's always like, huh. Even though it's happened so many times, every fucking comedic actor does a dramatic role, and we all say the same shit. Oh, that's pretty good at that. We should know it by now, but we still fucking do the same shit. And it's just it's fascinating to me. It's so fascinating to me. So that's one reason why. That's what drew me to this specific category, and that's what drew me to my top 5 movies. Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine are in my top 5, for that very reason. So yeah, that's a long-winded answer, but
no, that says it all. And I think
somewhere
I clicked. That's all amazing, and I do also click with what you were saying, Leonard. I agree. I'll third what you supported as well, Jacquis, which is that I think I'm always much more impressed when someone can make me laugh than when someone can do a piece of Hamlet really well. I'm impressed. I'm impressed to see good acting regardless of genre. But I just think laughing is an involuntary response. If you're funny, you're funny. I can be well, that was good. It didn't move me, but it was whatever when it comes to drama. But laughter, it's I know not everyone finds the same thing funny, but you can tell when someone's funny. So to see someone be able to go back and forth between, and I totally agree with you too, Jacquis, where it's we give comedians so much credit for being in like a lot of like subpar roles when they're being serious, and it's like almost like, oh, we're just so impressed that you got through that scene without trying to pull your dick out or something. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like the bar is low for
Yeah, we
comedian
set the
actors
bar
to be
low
in
for-
serious
yeah.
movies, but like, so when someone really knocks it out of the park, it's like, oh yeah, they're
It's so
just
weird.
an all-around talented person.
Like this is slightly off topic, but like same like topic we're talking about. I remember like I got chosen with like maybe 10 UCB people, which is like a comedy theater. I'm sure you guys have talked about UCB, but to do like reads for ABC. And everybody chose comedy because it's a comedic theater, blah, blah, blah. But I'm looking through the sides that they gave us to choose from, and it's a whole folder of dramatic shit. And I'm like, well, everybody's about to choose comedy. I grew up in theater. Will they care if I do some dramatic shit? And it was like, no, you can do what you want. So I was like, all right, bet. That's what I'm going to do. And like everybody goes up there and do comedy, and then I go up there and I do my drama shit, and everybody's just blown away and like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, I mean, first of all, thank you. But second of all, like, what the fuck did y'all think? I just like, like I can act, like I know what I'm doing, But like the bar is so low that like if I do anything that's not, talking about my balls in a vice or some shit, then like people are impressed, and I'm just like, this is weird. Like it wasn't even. I would have went to go do the same thing in Chicago for all these theater directors who I used to audition for, and they would be like, okay, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
They wouldn't have been as impressed, because I didn't put that much effort into it. But what I'm saying, it's just weird. It's weird that we set the bar so low for people who we throw the comedian tag on. Because more times than not, they're more well-rounded performers than like most people give them credit for. And
these two men are two of the most talented, men in Hollywood. There's not a reason why they both don't have dozens upon dozens of films and production companies, and their talent is boundless. And
it is. Although I will say for Adam Sandler, I will say this.
Okay, that's what I was just.
I was waiting to jump in on this too.
Let me say this for Adam Sandler. Listen, Adam Sandler has been
himself a hole.
He's been in some. He's had some really great Spanglish, however you say that. Really good. He's Punch Drunk Love. I think he was also in. He was really good in that. He's had some turns where you're like, not Stranger Than Fiction. That was Will Ferrell. Something else that I can't think of. Rain Over Me. Funny People. Adam Sandler has a resume of dramatic roles. But Adam Sandler also does some of the worst fucking comedies.
Exactly.
And he does it on purpose, and I'm not mad at him. But he'll go from like the stupidest shit I've ever seen, and then come out with Uncut Gems. And you're just like, nigga, what you been doing?
That's Quinn thought I was digging myself a hole, but what I was going to do is say he does all that, and then he pulls fucking Uncut Gems out of his ass.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow. They're like,
let's not pretend Jim Carrey doesn't slum. I mean, he's got a Mr. Popper's Penguin or two in his life. But
he does for sure.
But yeah, Adam Sandler slums once a year, every year, and it comes out on Netflix. Sometimes 2 times a year.
But like I was saying earlier, Jim, even when he is slumming it or whatever, it's still fucking good, and he's like giving it his all. And
yeah, it's not an element of like when Adam Sandler's slumming it, he's slumming it, which look, again, I have no problem with. I actually love it. I think more people should do it. He's slumming it saying like, yo, I just want to do a friend with my fucking movie. I want to do a movie with my fucking friends.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what it is. Just like run this 50 mil. Let's go to Hawaii for 5 weeks and let's do a movie. Whereas Jim Carrey, like he may pick a bad script, but Jim's still gonna come and give you a Jim Carrey performance and go all out. He's still there to make a movie, as in a different way that I feel Adam Sandler makes some of his Netflix films now.
And well, he also, the whole bad script thing was like maybe for a shorter period of time in the past, And I feel like even if it was kind of a bad script now or something, he still believed in it in some aspect in his part in the role, which
it's interesting because they're two very different comedians. I think people who don't like Adam Sandler don't like Adam Sandler, and not to speak for all of them, but like they don't like Adam Sandler because there's this slacker comedy. Like it doesn't ever seem like Adam Sandler's trying that hard, and that I think has extended to his movies in the 2000s and certainly the 2010s, which is what you're saying, Jacquis. It's like, just give me a check. I'm going to pick 5 of my friends, and we're going to go to a beautiful island, and we're going to give you a movie that's not going to be very good that you can put on Netflix. Yeah. And Jim Carrey, when people don't like Jim Carrey, I think they're like, this guy is trying way too fucking hard. Like he's the guy, guy like the customer service rep who's like, how are you today? How's your day? And then sometimes we're just like, I don't want to be rude, but I just can't match your energy right now. And I think that's Jim Carrey's comedy to people who don't like Jim Carrey. I always have, because I appreciate people that try, that are really putting it all out there and trying. And even if it's not funny, I'm like, yeah, but goddamn, I like that you're out here doing it. And I think that's why I was more of a Jim Carrey guy growing up, because Sandler comedies, I'd be like, yeah, this one is not really resonating with me. But even like Jim Carrey, it's like, this guy is going all out. It seems like he's risking, his life and limb sometimes to do some of these comedic contortions that he put himself in. And I always appreciated that. And
okay.
But I would think, like, talking about their comedic personas, like Jim Carrey gives the understated, not that he's not trying, but Jim Carrey gives the understated performance in Eternal Sunshine, whereas Sandler kind of gets to be a little bit like unhinged and off the chain in Uncut Gems.
Yeah, so that was another argument I was going to make, is in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, Jim Carrey is kind of still playing something in his wheelhouse, just like the depressed, like kind of witty guy. And I feel like him playing that role was easier than Adam trying to play this unhinged gambling
That's
addict.
Interesting. That's interesting. So I will die on this hill that I, for the fucking life of me, will never understand how Kate Winslet got nominated for Best Actress for that movie and Jim Carrey did not get nominated for Best Actor for Eternal Sunshine.
That's what Kate Winslet does to her co-stars. Leo didn't get one in Titanic. She got one. Kate Winslet's just up here grabbing awards and her co-stars.
It's so wild. And I'm not taking anything away from Kate. I think
she's great.
She's fantastic in this movie. She's very good in this movie. But this was a Jim Carrey vehicle. Like, and it's interesting that you say, like, that they probably had that his portrayal was probably a little easier than Adam's in Uncut Gems. I don't know if I agree with that.
I disagree strongly.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I'll say this because
go ahead.
He had already done the Truman Show.
True.
He'd already played kind of like an unhinged guy and Cable Guy. He had already shown
Man
his
on the Moon.
range. He had already shown his range by the time this had come out. So if we were talking about Truman Show, I would have been like, okay, this was more shocking to the populace because it was the first time we had seen.
I get what you mean. I get what you mean.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
Jim Carrey's performance in this wasn't shocking. Like it wasn't shocking. It was just very good.
And it's just that
very good. Yeah.
Jim, like I said, broad, he can do whatever he wants. He is that talented. Adam, we know what the fuck we're getting from Adam Sandler year in and year out. Okay. And this was a fucking dramatic and he had dramatic turns like the movies we spoke about earlier, but this is just fucking different. You know what I'm saying? And
like Punch Drunk Love and Funny People, he is essentially playing the Adam Sandler movie persona.
Exactly. He's still playing kind of
in a more dramatic, in a more serious light, but he's not really changing up his
Okay.
pitch.
Quick question.
Reign Over Me had him changing it up a little bit because he played someone who was mentally ill in that movie. He
plays mentally ill people all the time, as we discussed on last week's show. You get two Adam Sandlers. You get normal guy who gets angry, or you get guy who the movie makes great pains to not actually call mentally challenged, but everybody knows.
Yeah. The funny thing about Reign Over Me was he was both in that movie because he became mentally ill. It was mostly PTSD and grief because of his family dying and shit. So that's probably one of my favorite Adam Sandler movies.
I'll have to check it out. I've never watched that. Like we did Adam Sandler.
You're catching us on a good week, Jacquis. We just came off the best Adam Sandler movie episode. Do you have opinions on that? Because I'm still smarting over the. Do you have
best Adam Sandler movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, but and this we're considering Adam Sandler movies like the comedy. I mean, I guess you could go outside the box.
See, I wanted to pick Uncut Gems for best Adam Sandler movie, but it's not
I think you'd have lost because you got too cute with the prompt. Because everybody knows what you mean when you say, "Do you want to watch an Adam Sandler movie?" And if someone says yes, and you put on Uncut Gems, they're gonna be like,
"What the fuck are you doing, bro? What are you doing?" Honestly, this is unfair because he's had some movies that's made me laugh. Even if they're not great, but Mr. Deeds makes me laugh a lot. I fucking love Mr. Deeds. Click, I like. Click I like Click. It's not a good movie, but I'm entertained whenever I watch it. But I still think his best movie is Big Daddy. Big
Daddy, okay.
I think Big Daddy is one of his best movies, like his best. That's like prime Adam Sandler. Because it's a little more grounded than like fucking Happy Gilmore or Billy Madison, where he's just like crazed Adam Sandler. And this one was like, okay, we're gonna give you the Adam Sandler that like, what is it like if Adam Sandler just adopted a kid? And I think he knocks it out of the park. So Big Daddy is probably number one for me.
We did Happy Gilmore versus Waterboy, and Leonard won for Waterboy. And
Waterboy is very good.
Waterboy is very good. Waterboy is very good. But he is playing a guy who seems like he got kicked in the head by a horse. So.
Yes, he is.
They never say what it is, but they're like,
he's touched, as you might say in the South. I don't know.
Yes, he touched. Ooh, he touched. Yes.
Okay, well, since we're kind of talking about it, both of these guys come from comedic backgrounds. Jim Carrey was at the Comedy Store doing stand-up. He was on In Living Color. Adam Sandler on SNL. So they were introduced to the world as comedians.
Yeah, in the early 90s on Sketchlight. Their careers really have similar paths in more ways than I would have thought before we started talking about it.
Yeah, because they both started in sketch comedy for the most part.
Yeah.
We were talking about Adam Sandler movies, but since we're thinking about them as comedians, and I kind of want to give Jim Carrey his option too, since we just talked about Adam, like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a movie, but what was the funniest thing to you about both of these, or the funniest sketch or the funniest moment? Like
Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, he's birthed from a rhinoceros, robot rhinoceros, and the family that sees him. I will never stop laughing at the way he just plops out buck naked.
Yes. That is a classic moment. That is, it's a classic even moment. If people don't love Ace Ventura 2, that moment is just like...
I think that's the better one, but maybe that's just me. Maybe I haven't rewatched them recently, but that was
just
more
ridiculous.
As a kid.
It's just more ridiculous. Yeah. My favorite part is Bumblebee Tuna! Bumblebee Tuna! Excuse me, your balls are showing. Bumblebee Tuna! Like, it's just such a stupid fucking movie. I love it so much.
For me, it's Fire Marshal Bill. I was watching In Living Color when I shouldn't have been watching In Living Color. I was way too young to be watching it, but... I still said, let me tell you something. Like Fire Marshal Bill
was great for us to watch.
Yeah. And then honestly, Liar Liar, man. Like I don't know what it was about Liar Liar, but that was my favorite Jim Carrey movie, like comedy as a kid. Because
I'm kicking my own ass. Which scene from Liar Liar? Because when he that's what I was talking about, risking life and limb. When he goes off on himself in the bathroom in Liar Liar.
Yes,
he's really
hurting himself.
Yes,
yeah.
The scene with the when he's like first discovering it in the courtroom, and then he goes into the bathroom and fucking beats himself up, man. Jesus Christ. And I also the mama when he sees the girl in the elevator, the cleavage of the elevator. Oh my God.
Jim Carrey, man, listen, I could do a whole goddamn 2-hour episode on Jim Carrey and my love for him growing up. Same with you, Leonard. I started on Fire Marshal Bill. And all his characters on In Living Color. Ace Ventura obviously is classic. I think one of the first instances that we saw Jim Carrey might have a little chops in him was The Mask. Not because of The Mask, but because of Stanley Ipkiss. The Mask doesn't work if Stanley Ipkiss isn't a repressed, like, little more grounded character, and
which he shows in his debut that he can do both,
Yeah, and that movie came out the same year as Ace Ventura. So, like, and people don't really see that, but like I said, I'm an actor. I look at shit like that. Liar Liar is probably when Jim Carrey arrived as. Because Ace Ventura, Truman Show and Liar Liar both also came out within like a year of each other as well, and like. As great as he is in The Mask, as great as he is in Dumb and Dumber, as great as he is in Cable Guy and Ace Ventura, there's something still raw about him in those movies. Whereas Liar Liar was like, oh, this is an actor. Like you could tell, like something clicked for him, where the wheels just turned, and he was just firing on all cylinders. Not only as a comedic, plastic face actor, but somebody who was going to be number one on the call sheet and was going to elevate an entire fucking movie just from his own chops. Like Liar Liar is that movie for me.
It's literally like they teach you like in improv, like if this is this, then what does that mean? And like it's just like, damn, there's not a moment in the movie where you're like, I don't feel like he can't really tell a lot. Like it's just like, damn, like you're sitting here watching him truly struggle, and it's just like, this feels real and it's so good.
One of the best pieces of acting in that movie that I was thinking of too, like we talked about the scene where he kicks his ass in the bathroom, which is a physical commitment, but also this pen is red or this pen is blue, whatever it is, where he just wants to tell a simple lie. And I think the pen is blue. So he's trying to write out, like he's testing the limits of this curse that his son put on him where he cannot tell a lie. And so he's like trying to just write this pen is, and he's fighting his own hand. And it is, like you said, Leonard, it is so convincing that not for a second am I thinking about Jim Carrey, the actor, trying to like make I'm like, no, this man's hand is possessed and it's fighting him and it's writing on his own head. And then that scene where they're like looking at him, he's like, this pen is blue. It's so
the goddamn pen is blue. Like, it is just Liar Liar is I would put Liar Liar up against any comedy in a comedy school and dare anybody to say like it's not one of like it's not a perfect film, like, you know, and that's all opinionated, but Liar Liar is up there as one of the better comedic films that we've had.
Well, if we have a Jim Carrey episode, I know who we're gonna have back on, and
that'd be hard. That'd be hard.
This easily could have been a Jim Carrey episode because it could have been Truman Show versus Eternal.
That would have been interesting.
I was like, Quinn, if you don't pick Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, I'm probably going to pick it. So, like,
well, and that was at the end. I think I never came full circle on that point where I was saying to you, Jacquis, like I was between Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine, and what landed me down on the side of Eternal Sunshine is Truman Show is so good, but it's like it was very what appealed to me, and maybe this will wind up being the wrong pick, but like, is it Jim Carrey as Joel is playing an everyman, and in the Truman Show he's also playing an everyman, but of course he's actually the only man. Like he's living in an entire artificial life. So there was something, not that it's not a dramatic role, but it's something, you know, there's that like good afternoon, good evening, and good night. There's still that level of like artifice to his performance of like he's playing a normal person in the least normal situation that any person has ever been into. He's the only one that doesn't know, but he's still getting a lot of input from all these different things that make him different. I think
still performing.
Yeah, and we see Jim Carrey every day. Like all those roles. I think what maybe also struck for you about Liar Liar is like all those other roles, those comedies from before, or just Fire Marshal Bill. He's never playing a person that you're as watching it like, let me get inside the mind of the guy from Dumb and Dumber and think of what makes him go. And it's so interesting to watch him just play a normal, because it's like, oh, Jim, he might be me in this situation. I'm not like watching the Mask and being like, oh yes, I am Stanley Ipkiss. Like they all just feel like characters. And what I really loved about Eternal Sunshine, it's not the first time, but I think it's the best time where he plays like a guy, just a guy. And this guy, would the movie have been as good? Probably not. But you don't need Jim Carrey to make Eternal Sunshine. It's probably not as good if you don't have him. But like you just need someone who's an everyman. And the fact that he can do that so well and kind of make you feel empathy, which is really not a thing that Jim Carrey is trying to do in a lot of his previous roles, was very appealing to me. And I think that's why I landed where I did. Now, Leonard, you chose Uncut Gems, but did you think at all about like Punch Drunk Love or Funny People or any of the other like quote unquote serious Sandler roles, or was it easy?
I no, that was the problem. Was we talked about it on the last episode. There was a period of time where I was just like, I'm not watching any more Adam Sandler movies. Like I'm over it. And so I missed a lot of those. And so my selection, you know, my choice of movies was a little bit more limited in that capacity. And one movie I was thinking about was Requiem for a Dream.
Oof, Jesus.
Yeah, I was kind of
like,
glad you didn't give me that because you said that you were thinking about it, and I haven't seen that movie, and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna have to pick a night where I can get depressed and watch this movie.
Yeah, that movie is hard. That movie is hard to watch.
Starring the famous comedian
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly, right? That was what you were thinking?
Yeah, who's the? Is it the Wayne? Is it Damon?
Marlon
Wayans.
Marlon Wayans, yeah. But I was like, I'm not gonna do that to either one of you guys. So
Yeah.
and I still chose Uncut Gems.
You just ratcheted up the tension in an entirely different way. But yeah,
let's go into these talking points. Starting with number one, pop culture. I mean, these both are pretty much pop culture heavyweights. One just came out a lot earlier than the other.
Yeah,
And,
it's hard to tell the pop cultural footprint of a movie like Uncut Gems, which only came out in 2019. But in what we've had to judge so far, it's an incredibly relevant film. I think there's a shit ton of memes from that coming off that movie. Like you talk about it, Leonard, but it seems like it would have been more difficult because it didn't have as much time. But I feel like it came out roaring. There's a ton of stuff from Uncut Gems.
There's a ton of stuff that from it, but I don't know if it, just the whole Howie and the Furby and the I think.
Oh my God, I'm gonna come.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm gonna come is one of the best lines.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's pop culture, but the pop culture that I liked about it was the pop culture in the movie. I was like, this fucking feels like 2012. That literally is Cash Out in the jewelry store. Like, I was watching with my roommate. And he's like, wait, he just thought that was some actor. I was like, no, that is literally Cash Out, a one-hit wonder from 2011, 2012.
Oh, really?
He's an actual rapper. Yes, Trinidad James is in the movie, an actual rapper from Atlanta, like gold all on my watch. Like, I've met Trinidad James a bunch of times, and I was like, that's dope that they were able to get these rappers from this period of time that it's supposed to be and convince them to be like, all right, you're going to play yourself and be this one-hit wonder. They got The Weeknd in it, and
The Weeknd, who they had to like retroactively make him still on the come up. Like he's not one of the most popular singers in there. He's just some guy at a club in New York that Adam Sandler's girl on the side may have fucked in a bathroom.
I would say the pop culture influence on this one is like they really just did their job on the time period.
It's a period piece, Leonard. You should have chosen it for our best period piece episode.
It's a period piece. It's interesting for Uncut Gems, and I guess we haven't talked about Eternal Sunshine yet, but for Uncut Gems, it does have a lot of, the pop culture reference. I don't even know if I would call it pop culture references in the movie. It's just a period piece, and they did a really good job at setting the era that it was in, with all the things that a lot of people wouldn't have even recognized, but it led to the authenticity of the movie. Movies nowadays outside of, or things from back in the day outside of fucking, cartoons, and some reality clips and things like that generally don't get memeified to the same degree that shit that comes out nowadays does, and we pick it up and we run with it and shit like that. So it's interesting. It's interesting to think about. I don't know what you have to say about Eternal Sunshine in this pop culture.
Yeah, it's a bit of a trickier thing, and I guess before I move away from Uncut Gems, Leonard, you forgot "This Is How I Win," which I feel like is
number one. It's the number one meme, yeah.
And KG's just like looking at it, I'm like, oh fuck, okay. Like,
also, a lot of that New York authentic.
KG fucking did his thing in this movie. Like,
KG's great,
like himself, but like.
But I believed him when he said he was gonna kill Adam Sandler if he lost his ring.
Yeah.
Also, I think we haven't talked yet about, like, we mentioned Michel Gondry, who still has a nice career and has worked with Jim Carrey again on in television, but that was like his heyday in the mid 2000s. This movie kind of put him on the map. But we haven't mentioned the Safdie brothers, who directed Uncut Gems, who also directed Good Time. Like, these guys make incredibly stressful movies, and they also make like very. You mentioned you're from Chicago, Jacquis. Leonard, you grew up around Atlanta, a couple other places, but being from outside of New York, growing up in New Jersey, but like it's very specific New York feel movie. Like these guys, so maybe that's why they know like which era of like which one hit wonder rapper from 2010 would make Uncut Gems feel more authentic. These guys just make very stressful movies, but movies that also feel very real, despite having larger than life characters like Howie. So I just figured I'd throw them a bone. Eternal Sunshine, I mean, help me out. Well, you don't have to help me out, I guess, if I'm arguing, but like I'm trying to think of like what the most. I feel like the idea, and this is a broad one, and you don't find it in like a meme or like a reference or a line, but like just that idea of like erasing someone from your life. Like I feel like that concept, the conceit of the movie has become a little bit of a, like I've made jokes on this podcast to you, Leonard, about like erasing a certain moment from your life, like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Like it feels a little bit broader. I think it's definitely swept into the, like, I think a lot of the things that are memorable from the movie are the images, some of which we've talked about, the way that they visually depict erasing things from your mind, or just how we perceive memory visually. But I do think it's, strangely, even though it's had a lot more time to pick up some of these things, some pop culture signifiers, it feels a little bit like it's certainly less relevant today than Uncut Gems in terms of just like in the discourse. So it's been a bit of a harder spot. I don't know. Maybe I'm probably forgetting something very obvious, but
I feel like it's not like a wide range like pop culture influence, but it's like if you're sitting down with some friends at a party and you're like, something comes up and it's like, oh man, I feel that way about this. And it's like, it's not something you'll see like in the media or like out in public, but there's that just is that intimate connection where like, if you're talking about it, then it's like people have that certain.
Yeah.
Feeling, you know?
I think like if we're talking like true popular culture, right? Eternal Sunshine is pretty hard to say that is as relevant in popular culture as Uncut Gems. I think a big reason for that is just how long it's been since Eternal Sunshine came out in 2003 or something like that. So, you know, there wasn't even Facebook then. But for whatever, but it came out, it's still a touchstone in like a lot of our lives, right?
Yeah.
And so while on the Twitters and the Instagrams and, you know, the social medias, Uncut Gems is talked about, or you get a lot of memes with it. I think Eternal Sunshine is more relevant as far as it has stuck with people a little bit longer and will probably, like, we'll always talk about Uncut Gems if it's bought up, but like,
it's that
Eternal Sunshine is one of those movies that if anybody brings it up, somebody in the room is going to be like, I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
Right. Like, so, and it's just like something, it's like, it's almost like an unspoken, like cult classic.
Well,
so, you know, I don't know. That's a tough one, man. That's a tough one.
While you were talking, one came to me, and this is like one more concrete kind of thing came to me. I could be wrong. This, I think, this movie came out in 2004. This, I think, was the first time that I heard used in movies, Mr. Blue Sky. Like, I feel like there was just every fucking movie for like the next decade would do a needle drop of Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra, either like in their trailer or like as a cutaway scene where you're doing a montage. That is a very minor thing, but I feel like this kind of brought that song back to the fore, and then the rest of the 2000s just ran wild with it and probably overplayed it. But I remember that song. I still think of that song tied to this movie, and I feel like it's been used so many other places.
Also, you know, listen, the cast of Eternal Sunshine, Uncut Gems is dope. Adam Sandler and Dina Menzel, blah, blah, blah. But, like, the cast of Eternal Sunshine has some... You got Kristen Dunst, you got Mark Ruffalo, you got Tom Wilkinson, you got Elijah Wood, you got some heavyweights in the zeitgeist. David Cross. Yeah, fuck, I forgot about the. I always forget about David Cross. Yeah, well, it's a deep bench. So you got some pop culture icons in that movie at the very least.
Yeah, and the deep bench helps with how well does it hold up. I feel like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind holds up pretty damn well because it evokes the feelings we all have. It's a tale as old as time. Just love and heartbreak. And
love and heartbreak will always be in pop culture.
And even like I know it doesn't really have a distinctive, or it has a distinctive style, but like even though like the 2000s don't have we're starting to kind of see like, oh, this is what people used to wear in the 2000s. Now we're seeing it again, but I don't think nostalgia culture has quite cannibalized the 2000s yet. We're still in the 90s. But I think there's that thing of like a Frenchman, the director, interpreting American culture, where that you don't go back and look at it and sort of be like, oh, that's a bad look. But I remember in 2004 where everyone was wearing Ugg boots and everyone in this movie's got or something like that, where it's like, oh, this doesn't hold up stylistically or whatever, because it's such a unique vision that it could have been made any time.
This movie is surprised. Like when I watched it again, I was like, this movie is surprisingly timeless. Like there's no, I can't really pinpoint an error in this movie.
The only thing that would date this movie are the cars. Like literally.
Yeah, that's it.
That's literally it. That's literally the only thing that would date this movie.
Which is genius. It's a genius thing to make it timeless like that, because of the content matter of the movie is also timeless. So you can pick it up and watch it anytime and feel like right at home watching it.
Like you said, it has its own style, but it's not that 2000. It's not that style that you would usually see or think you would see from an early 2000s movie.
Yeah.
So,
but let's go back to a time even longer ago than 2004, the pre-pandemic days of 2019, which feels like it may as well
feels like it was longer than
50 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think Uncut Gems holds up. Like, I don't think, I mean, it's like, it's hard to say with a movie that just came out 2 years ago, but I don't think there's anything. I still laugh about Why Don't You Go Fuck the Weekend. I mean, there's nothing about that movie. It certainly hasn't gotten controversial in the time since.
Or like, he's like, oh, what? You got a hot chick living in the apartment? There's a chick living in the apartment. The dude said he's a cokehead. Don't listen to me. I'm in his apartment. Like he's like,
Also, can we give a shout out to the special cameo by John Amos in that movie? Which I forgot about until I was like, oh shit, that's right.
Literally the same thing. Movie. He was like, oh, he's the father of. I was like, oh shit, I forgot John Amos. And he was just like, nope. And I was like, yes, yep. You are not coming in my house and using my bathroom. Like we talked about it earlier. I mean, the reason why I feel like Uncut Gems holds up, even though it's only 2 years ago, is the work that they did and the nuances, and it just feels like 2012. And it had to, because this literal game happened. Like it's like you said, the subject matter is all like, I mean, not the story isn't real, but the subject matter is real. Like they were in the playoffs against Philadelphia, and that's actual footage.
It's hard for this movie to feel. It's hard for a movie that is supposed to feel dated to feel dated.
Yeah,
you know, like this movie is supposed to feel dated because it's set in a time that's specific to the movie. You know. Yeah.
And they did such a good job with the phone, the messages. Like, oh damn, the old iPhone messages, the fucking everything about it. It was. I feel like they did a great job putting it all together.
Yeah. All right, stop beating around the bush, Leonard. It's time for our third criterion. Was Steve Buscemi in either of these movies?
I had an Adam Sandler movie and Steve Buscemi was not in it.
I know.
You picked two Adam Sandler movies in 2 weeks.
And he was not in either.
And he was not in either.
We went the whole fucking season without having Steve Buscemi in a single one of our movies.
Damn.
It's the film versus film curse. If we think a character actor is so prominent that he's bound to pop up in many of our picks over the course of a season, he or she will not. And it's borne out again for Steve Buscemi. It was not
season one. Samuel L. Jackson. We didn't have him in any movies until we forced our hand and chose that to be the last prompt of the season. Season 2 was Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have him in any movies
I can believe that.
Yeah, we had him in season 3. He showed up in season 3, but he was not in season 2 when he was the criteria. And then this year, Steve Buscemi.
Nope.
Which means he's going to be in a whole bunch of goddamn episodes next season. You know, that's what it means.
What would Steve Buscemi? Okay, well, Steve Buscemi in this move in Uncut Gems, I feel like is the guys that owe $30,000 that he gives the fake Rolexes to. I feel like he could be one of those guys. He could maybe be the pilot, the helicopter pilot. At the end.
He could be, I think he could be when they were over at Idina Menzel's like family house. Like he could be like a crazy uncle or or brother or some shit in that family. I cannot see him in any scene in Eternal Sunshine. I just can't.
He could be David Cross's character.
I was thinking something like that, or like someone who works because the weirdos in the movie work at the facility. So maybe he's like work in one of, but yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah,
It's a tough
it's
one.
a tough one, man. It's a tough one. I feel like Eternal Sunshine is perfectly cast.
Yeah.
And again, that's bias, and we've had almost 20 years to sit with the movie. But yeah, I can't really. Maybe David Cross's character, But
That's literally the only thing I could maybe.
That's
see.
it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Especially, Steve Buscemi then in 2003. This is before Boardwalk Empire. So Steve.
Yeah.
Now I can see him in anything, but
Yeah.
We're doing the same thing that I was talking about earlier. He's a comedic guy. I can't see him in, but I can see him in anything now. But yeah, maybe not Eternal Sunshine.
Okay.
All right. Sorry, Steve.
Sorry,
There's
Steve.
another season. We'll get you next season, man. I know he
let's go
listens.
into statistics, stats. I'll start out with Uncut.
You start out reading Kevin Garnett's line in the game. It's that line.
26 point. So we got a 7.4 out of 10 on IMDb for Uncut Gems. Kind of surprised by that.
It feels a little low, yeah.
Yeah, it feels a little low. I'm 91% on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm only bringing this up because I'm very surprised by this, but that's because people are just dumb and they probably were like, I'm angry that I'm so stressed. This is shocking. 72% with Google users. We don't ever really talk about Google users unless it's surprising. And
Unless you're using it to bolster your own argument.
But this time I'm not.
Now it's turning on you. Yeah, I'm surprised you said it.
But that's surprising.
I think the movie, when I first put on, like the first time I saw it, not when I was watching it for this, but I was watching it and I was like, I thought I had a headache. And I know that's not a thing you ever want to say about a movie that I like, but I realized it's because of the score. Like he's like ratcheting up the music in the mix.
Oh yes,
and it's like it wasn't until he got out of off the floor, out of the behind the glass in his office, and he went back into his office that I could even isolate what it was, because it's so much like people talking, and I was like, it was a beehive in my head, and it took me a while to kind of get on the same wavelength as the movie. And I would not be surprised. And I heard from some people that I know are just like, if people are like, I got 5 minutes into that movie and I turned it off. And I love this movie, but I can understand why some people are like, this is not my movie, I'm turning it off. And
this movie, it wouldn't be for a lot of people.
Yeah.
I went with someone, and like, this is not her movie. Like, because I saw it in theaters on Christmas Day. This is not her type of movie. And she watched it.
Maybe she just didn't want to see it on Christmas.
That's probably it. I struck out before I even got in the damn seats. But
you got a receipt for this gift,
right? Exactly. You got a gift receipt. We'll see what you get when you get home. But yeah, dude, this I'm not surprised, because the people who like this movie would probably give it like a 10. And the people who don't like this movie would rate it 5 and below. So because of that, and like, it's kind of like one of those movies that I really truly do feel like there's no in between. Mm-hmm. And maybe there is, but I think
the movie is like, the Safdie brothers, whoever, I think the movie is well aware that it's like, this one's for the fans and not for the casuals. Like, if you don't like it, we don't care. We're trying to make
that
this.
Explains the budget situation. Was it cost $19 million to make this movie, probably because it was shot in New York, and that's probably where a lot of the budget went. In Adam Sandler, and it only made $50 million. So
yeah,
but I mean, it's like a film. It's
a rated R movie, come out during the holidays. So that's not surprising.
It's not surprising. But it's a great movie. Let's talk about Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
All right, I'll go through it a little quicker, just because we talked about a lot of the other things about it. Made for 20 mil, made $74 million at the box office. So better margins, but also not a runaway hit, especially considering Jim Carrey, like Adam Sandler, is usually a box office draw. Like, if this was just another Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler movie, those box office figures would be low. But obviously, this is them stretching a little bit. Michel Gondry had not really established him, unless I'm forgetting something. I don't think he'd really established himself in the U.S. as a director. So this was, there wasn't a lot of like reason to see this movie unless you want to see a Jim Carrey movie. And those, or you like Kate Winslet, as many people do. But I feel like those people would have probably been turned off when it's like, oh, but it's not a comedy. And so like, it makes sense that it's the margins are a bit lower.
I don't want to cut you off, but like, before I forget, because I will, I don't really remember this movie being marketed heavily.
I didn't see it in theaters. Yeah,
I didn't see it in theaters. It wasn't billboards for it and shit. Like this movie was very much the people who did see it
Told
bought
people
it
about it.
and
Yeah.
told people about it. And we like I remember the DVD with them on the the ice
ice.
sheet
Yep.
and with the crack. Like that's what I remember. So like this movie I think found most of its legs once it hit the home video circuit.
Yeah, it's a slow burn. I saw this movie when I was like 19, and I just moved out of my dad's place and moved into a new place with some roommates, and my roommate had it, and then I watched it on DVD. It was just,
I think this was definitely, and this was right in the age of 2004 DVDs. The movie would come out, and then they would do a lot. However successful the movie was, there'd be a bunch of it would be factored into like how well does it do on home video, and I think this was one of those movies. It came out, which I'm learning for the first time, in March. So they weren't even like Uncut Gems was an awards darling. It was an unlikely awards darling, but it was released at that time to garner awards. There was a whole thing about if Sandler was going to get nominated and the softies and all that. It didn't wind up cleaning up, but it was an unlikely awards movie. This movie came out in March 2004, which I think a lot of movies released in March is studios aren't quite sure what it is. It's certainly not, you're not trying to win an Oscar if you release a movie in March. It's also not a summer movie. So this movie had to kind of find its audience. And it did get nominations.
Yeah.
It did, yes.
It won, I think, best screenplay, right? Or it got nominated.
I will double check that, but it has an 8.3 on IMDb, Leonard. So that's, I think it's like in the top 250. However, IMDb does that. I'm looking for awards. Yeah, it won Best Original Screenplay. You're right on the money, Jacquis, and Kate Winslet was nominated as well, which we talked about.
And it has a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You want to do the Google users, or does it matter to you? Maybe the Google users don't like it.
They like it. There's 93%.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're fucking with it. They're sad.
We all have our heart broken. If I could erase Latricia, I would. I wouldn't. She's not going to listen to this, but if she does, you just had a baby. You're beautiful. I wouldn't erase you. I wish you well.
Okay.
That's the next part. We all have to say someone from our lives that we would erase. No, all right. Leonard, that brings us. We're all out of stats. We're all out of categories. It brings us to the moment of judgment. We each get.
I went
get
last
some time.
time, so I'll go first this time.
Okay.
And I made some points earlier, and the reason why I know Jacquis loves Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. He loves Jim Carrey, but like I said earlier, Quinn didn't choose Truman Show. He chose Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. This is after 10 years after he had shown that he could play anything and everything. And like you said earlier, in The Mask isn't great without Stanley Ipkiss. And he had shown that ability from the jump that he could play just a common man, a grounded character, but also offset that with craziness. So I'm not going to take anything away from Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It's a fucking amazing movie. There's nothing I can say bad about it. But I'm just going to say it maybe wasn't as surprising and maybe wasn't as tough of a role to play. I feel like, comedians could maybe play the depressed, illustrator everyman. Like, I'm not saying that the character wasn't the toughest character. It's not the toughest character to play, but Jim Carrey, like he does in all aspects, was 100% knocked it out of the park, fucking killed it. But Uncut fucking Gems, like if you give some head executive the script to Uncut Gems and you're like, all right, who's going to be the leading man in this movie? You're going to say, I don't know, like, I don't even fucking know. I want to say Jason Statham. I don't know. You're going to think of some big heavyweight movie star or some type of different person. You're thinking a Brad Pitt or a Leo or someone who has the certain chops and the believability. I don't think anyone in their right mind would have thought Adam Sandler. Like, you might have gotten laughed out of the room if you're like, I got this movie and I want Adam Sandler to play the role of Howard Ratner. And you're just like, what? No, not at all. And I just feel like it's more of a dramatic turn because this is the man that made fucking Jack and Jill. This man fucking, this man is put out a lot of questionable movies, a lot of goofy slapstick movies. He always plays himself. And this was a fucking roller coaster ride. Like Quinn said, people had to turn the movie off because they were so fucking stressed. And in the entire movie, I never thought about Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler. I thought about like, this guy's a fucking scumbag and he's fucking wild. And you're just along for the ride and you're fucking stressed because you believe it so well because he does such a fucking good job. And I want to say the only time I really felt like, oh, now I'm seeing Adam Sandler is when he grabs the basketball cookies and he goes and it's like, oh, there's Adam. Had to get a scene with him in dribbling basketball. But I think both these movies are amazing and both the actors did great jobs. I just feel like Adams was a more of a larger dramatic turning point than Jim Carrey's.
Okay. Good argument.
I'll try to keep it quicker, but I don't think Adam Sandler is a good actor.
Oh my God.
I don't think Adam Sandler if you put him on a stage and stripped him of like, you know, all of his tricks and the things we know about him, could like interpret like just a script as well as Jim Carrey. I think we've established that. I don't think I'm breaking ground, but I don't think I think he does one thing pretty well, which is, and we've seen him do the shtick and people have varying levels of tolerance for that. But I think generally his movie star persona is like normal guy, kind of a dude who gets angry and then loses his temper and stuff. He absolutely adds some shades to his, like some tools to his tool belt that I had never seen before in Uncut Gems. I don't, and the whole movie, you feel with Adam Sandler, you feel for him, or maybe you're feeling like separate apart from him, like, guy, what are you doing? So, but he's drawing emotion out of you watching that movie. But I don't know, like we talked about, like the way the movie's mixed and the way that it's kind of cut and the fact that you see him making all these increasingly worse decisions. I don't know how much I personally put on Adam Sandler doing that, as well as being part of a film that knows exactly how to use him. And I think that's a big reason for his success in comedy and in drama. I think Punch Drunk Love is another good example. Paul Thomas Anderson was like, what if we took this weird Adam Sandler persona and put him in the real life? He'd probably be kind of an antisocial dude. And then like, that's what that movie is. Yeah. I think he's grown a lot. I thought the hype for him getting an Oscar, I wanted to see Adam Sandler get nominated for an Oscar. I didn't think he deserved to win one, but I just thought it'd be cool to like see him at the table with those kinds of people that he's not normally with, sitting next to Meryl Streep or whatever. I think Jim Carrey, as we've discussed, is a good actor. I think what makes Jim Carrey's dramatic turn more impressive, it's that as a comedian, Adam Sandler kind of is slacker comedy. He does the thing, he gets angry and it's funny. As a comedian, Jim Carrey is just doing everything. He's like Charlie Chaplin or Groucho Marx, but he's got like a quick wit and he's got like a tremendous sense of timing. I think he runs circles around Adam Sandler as a comedian, just as a physical comedian. Whoever's movies you like more, that's fine. And I think dramatically, it's the same. I think Jim Carrey he has maybe the most expressive face in like movies, and that's a great service to him when he's doing comedy stuff because he can contort it in any which way. But it's really impressive and cool and shows you a lot of range when you see him do it in Eternal Sunshine, when you just really feel for this guy. And this movie seems like a slam dunk now, but I don't know that it works if you don't have a guy that you can like get behind and real, because it might just be some weird French guy's movie about this kind of silly premise. And like, you need to accept a lot of this stuff as fact. And I think Jim Carrey is the key to that. And I think I could have picked The Truman Show. I think I could have picked Man on the Moon. I think I could have picked a couple other movies, but I think weirdly in picking, to me, his most like understated performance, I think that just because he's still got to draw a lot out of you, the audience. And I think that solidifies it for me. So that's my argument.
I just got one rebuttal.
Oh, you're going to rebut my argument. I didn't. Okay.
You see Adam Sandler. Adam Sandler is literally on the screen for like 98% of the time in Uncut Gems.
What, are you going to give him the attendance award?
And the fact that Jim Carrey has so many options for dramatic turns, just I feel like
is it most surprising dramatic turn, or is it the best dramatic turn?
Okay, all right. Well, that's it. That's all I gotta say. I'll give you a little rebuttal.
I'm gonna rebut your rebuttal.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So tell us how you feel, Jacquis, and then
So, like, okay, all right. So let me respond to both of you. I think you both made great arguments, really good arguments. I see what you're saying, Leonard. Like, and I'm not choosing one yet, but I see what you're saying, Leonard. And like, you feel this movie is a bigger turn from the Adam Sandler that we see, or that we know, or the credit that maybe credit is the wrong word, but the eye rolling nature of the Adam Sandler that we have come to know, and then to turn to this role and be like, oh, why don't you just keep doing this shit, right? Is versus Jim Carrey, especially in 2003. These were a little bit closer together from The Majestic and Man on the Moon and The Truman Show and everything like that. So the surprise of the turn wasn't as jarring. I 100% get that. I also see what you're saying, Quinn, that the movie that Adam Sandler is in has a lot to do with the role, with the role that, or with how we perceive the role, right? Where I don't think that's the case with Eternal Sunshine. I think, like you said, like I personally think, and we didn't really get into this earlier when you mentioned it before, but I think the Eternal Sunshine role is a lot harder to do because it required Jim Carrey to do something that's so fucking hard to do in the movie, and that is be relatable. Like, he was so fucking relatable in that movie, and the nuance that he brought to it, like the part where he was the kid and it was still him, and like I felt like he was being bullied when he saw like Kate Winslet's underwear. He's like, ugh, like all these parts, like I felt like when like his eyes pop open, you see the one tear come down his fucking eye, and I'm like, this is fucking heartbreaking, right? Adam Sandler did exactly what the fuck he was supposed to do in this movie. Induce anxiety and make you root for and against one man. Because that's exactly what the fuck you're doing. You're rooting for him and you're rooting against him because he's a goddamn moron. Right? Yeah. The thing that I was hoping to hear what I feel about Jim Carrey's role in Eternal Sunshine, and Quinn brought it up, which is he is a better actor, and I don't know if that movie doesn't work without him. I really don't. I know it's more. I don't know if that movie works without him. I don't know if that movie works without Kate Winslet. Like, I'm not just saying it to Jim Carrey. I think it is a perfectly cast film. Uncut Gems would have worked with anybody. I really believe that. I truly, and that's not to take anything away from Adam Sandler. Like, anybody could also fucked it up, and he didn't. And I think there's something to be said with that. But like, it had Kevin Garnett in it. Like, and Kevin Garnett was also great. But like, you know, they could have chose the 2009 series with Derrick Rose, and maybe he would have gave us like, you know, like there's something about Uncut Gems where it just feels,
Derrick Rose ain't goddamn got no acting chops. He can't even do interviews, man.
I know. I was wrong. Maybe Paul Pierce or something. Maybe they could have got Paul Pierce and he would have did. And then, I'm truly not saying that to take anything away from Adam Sandler, because like I said, like, you still have to be an actor and come for the role and deliver, and he did. He delivered. And there's something to be said about that.
Just say it, man. Just say it.
I think it's Eternal Sunshine, man. I gotta go with Quinn, bro. I gotta go with Quinn. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It is what it is.
Also, one point, I will say this, Leonard. You made a great argument. One of the parts that I feel, and this is, you know, let me give you tips, because you already won this season, but let me give you tips for winning more next year.
He doesn't need any tips to kick my ass. He's been kicking my ass.
One of the things that I think, like, you mentioned, is that we've seen a lot from Jim Carrey with the dramatic roles and things like that. And for you personally, you hadn't seen that as much with Adam Sandler, but like I have. Like, this is also Adam Sandler's like sixth or seventh dramatic turn, you know? So like, I've seen them both have multiple dramatic turns. Like before they got to, I saw Jim Carrey have multiple dramatic turns before he got to Eternal Sunshine, and I've seen.
And all of Jim Carrey's dramatic turns were better than Adam
Sandler. For the most part, I would say, well, no, The Majestic was a little boring to me.
And like so treacly, like he was trying so hard to be Jimmy Stewart in that movie. I remember seeing The Majestic and loving it as a kid, and then seeing it a little bit later and being
like, it's not great.
Yeah.
The number 23 is also bad.
Yeah, I saw that in the theaters.
Number 23 is awful. Whereas
I watched like half that movie and I just
it's bad. Whereas Reign Over Me, I thought he should have been nominated for that because that movie was fantastic. He was fucking great in that movie. I think that's his best turn, to be honest. So yeah, I would probably say, don't admit you haven't seen his other shit when you're trying to win an argument.
I got you.
Don't admit it. Just, don't admit that, because they're gonna be like, but he has turned in dramatic turns before this.
Got you.
That was one thing I was like, no, but he's done it. He's done it a few times. So yeah, man.
I thought
I've done a few times.
Yeah. Say what?
Goddamn
I was about to say something nice, but now I'm not going to. Go ahead. Dunk on me like I'm, Adam Sandler in a game of basketball.
This is the end of season 3. We still haven't decided a punishment yet.
You want me to decide my own punishment? I'll come up with something.
You got to decide it. Is it going to be a good? Is it? What's the type of punishments, y'all?
I feel like I'm going to change it up this season. Last 2 seasons, we've forced the loser to
watch a movie they don't like.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty mild punishment, but it's pandemic. You gotta give us some credit. We couldn't really go to someone's house and force a harsh punishment.
But now the world is back open, and we're gonna spice it up. So
you should make them eat something he don't like.
That's what Carl said.
That's what Carl said.
I was like, put some hot sauce and some ice cream.
Yeah, and I said, I think before I lost, because I didn't know he was gonna lose. I said we are definitely gonna make the loser do that, and then I never brought that shit up again. I
don't Made him eat. Make him eat a spoon of flour.
Maybe like. He has to wear like a Team Jake or like Twilight shirt every Friday for like the next month or something. Like something where people think he is a fan of something that he's not. So therefore he either has to pretend that he is or tell them that he lost the season of his podcast and he's forced to wear it. And then if the person likes it, then they just feel bad and he has to talk about it with them. I don't know.
You're dropping the ball here, Leonard. I would have had so many inventive punishments, because you knew you won last week. And see, Jacquis, this goes back to Leonard's.
I've been busy, man.
Right?
I've been busy. Okay?
Okay. Now you're gonna big time me.
Are you dating anybody, Quinn? Are you dating anybody?
I'm engaged to yes.
So
no, but
because I was gonna say you should make him like send a picture of his shit to like his like prospective love interest.
Oh my.
You can't fuck with my relationship, Leonard. All right? I will erase you like you are Clementine.
No. I don't want to do that to him or to Corey. So
I can send a picture of Leonard's junk to somebody. You want to do that? You got to come up with it, man. I'm not going to help. I'm not going to throw you a life raft to come up with an inventive punishment for me.
By the time we do the awards episode, I'll have a punishment. Okay.
Leonard, if you don't come up with something good, you letting down the culture, man. I'm just letting you know that you're gonna let down the culture.
Here's what else he didn't do, Jacquis. Like, this is the exact same scenario that played out last season. We do a best of 9, so it's first to 5. Mm-hmm. Leonard was up. He was up 1 on me going into the 8th episode. So if he won that episode, 9 would have been irrelevant, much like this is our 9th episode, and it didn't really matter for the winner. But what we did was like he won in the 8th episode, and then we created another punishment. Like if you lose again, Quinn, and you're not going to win, but if you lose another match, you got to do something even worse. Leonard didn't even come up with that. He clearly has been busy. He's been in Joshua Tree baking his brain, and it shows. It shows. All right. I would have had more parlays and shit than Howard Ratner. I would have been all over you. I would have had all these inventive things, but I'm grateful that you are slacking, because I am a loser and I feel like a loser.
You gotta stop slacking, Leonard. You gotta stop slacking. I'm counting on you, bro. I'm counting on you.
Well, for sure, it's not going to be part of the punishment, but I am going to make myself a season 3 champion T-shirt, and I'm going to make you a season 3 loser T-shirt. So that's going to be part of it, 100%.
So you're buying me a shirt. That's part of the punishment.
No, I got to be a shirt that you wear all the time, Leonard.
This has been a blast. Leonard didn't come prepared with the punishment, but Jacquis, you came prepared. I thought some of the more interesting we get jokey on this podcast, but I enjoyed just like the earnest, frank conversation about Eternal Sunshine and the films of Adam Sandler as well. But this has been a blast. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, I always appreciate talking about. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Leonard.
No. Where can the people find you?
Yeah. Thank you guys for both having me. I appreciate talking about shit I love, and I loved Eternal Sunshine. I like Uncut Gems. This was easy and this was fun.
I encounter way too many people in LA and everywhere else that are like, will not give Jim Carrey his due. So when you started off and you were like, Jim Carrey's one of my favorites, Eternal Sunshine and Truman Show are top 5. Like that's more than me. But I also love Jim Carrey, and I was like, all right, this is going to be good. Yeah, whether or not I lose, I'm going to enjoy the next hour. So
this was fun. At Jacquis Neal on everything. Easiest way to find me. Or in these streets, you know what I'm saying? Wherever you want to find me, I'll be there. So
y'all motherfuckers with these unique, one-of-a-kind names, man, where you just put your full name in your goddamn
I'm sorry, bro. Now take that up with your mama and your daddy.
Literally my daddy. I'm Leonard Smith Jr.
Yeah, take it up with him.
Is he the one that has the handles? You try to get like a Twitter thing and he's Leonard Smith?
He has all the handles at you.
It's some like old white lawyer. He might be dead now, so we'll see.
Damn. You should do, I mean, you already have your handles, but you should have just went LSJ. At LSJ.
I'm sure
that would have been fun. It's probably taken. But
this has been a blast, though.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. This was fun.
It's a great way to close out the competition part of the season. We will, of course, be back next week. We're going to do some wrap-ups, probably a bonus episode, an award show, all kinds of fun stuff. At some point, Leonard's going to have to figure out how to punish me. I feel like a submissive without a dom. I just feel like I'm like waiting to be. It's like, is someone going to come in with the whip? Like, what's going on? But
I've already paid.
We'll get that squared away. We will announce that on our next episode sometime on the socials. But thanks to everyone who listened through this season. And until then, we'll see you at the cinema. We can go back to the cinema now, Leonard. This is not just an empty sign-off.
I've seen Jacquis a couple times when he's gone to the cinema because he came and saw me at Barney's. But I no longer work there.
And now we can burn it to the ground.